Hello children, welcome to another science lesson here on Gurukedara. We have been doing our unit 10 in the grade 11 book and we have already done two parts of the unit, and today we have come to the third part of the unit and we are finishing unit 10 today. Yeah. So, I hope you must have completed the work I asked you to do. Do you remember the work I gave you? I gave you several work. One thing is I asked you to take the electrical appliances that you use in your houses and observe how the power is marked on them. I hope you must have done it. And I gave you another one. I think you remember that also. That is to take the electrical appliances that you use in your house and write the energy transformation that they do. Yeah, I think you must have done that as well. And what's the other thing I asked you to do? Do you remember that? Yeah, I asked you to take the passive questions and answer the questions related to what we have done in the first two parts of the lesson. Yeah. So, today we are going to continue as I told you, and I have organized today's lessons in three parts. Let us have a look. Yeah, what are we going to do today? Let us see. To learn about protective measures in domestic circuits. So, you can looking at the picture, you can get an idea. If you do not take the protective measures, you are going to be in difficulty as you see in the picture. Sometimes you must have already faced with something like this. So, we are going to talk about different protective measures that we have to follow when using electricity in the domestic circuit. To calculate electricity consumption at home. Yeah, this is already done by the electric meter, but meanwhile we also should have an idea. I mean, having an idea always helps us, right? Okay, electricity board give us the bill, but sometimes there can be instances where they also go wrong. So, if we know how to calculate, then we can even question about it, right? To revise what we have done in unit 10. So, we have come to the last part of unit 10. As I told you, we are going to finish it today. So, we are going to revise what we have done, because revision always helps us. It says that when we learn something within one day, like 70% of things we forget. So, if you do not revise, we will forget. That is why we have to revise. So, at the end of the lesson, we are going to revise what we have done. Okay, let us start. Protective measures in domestic circuits. Do you remember the different accessories connected to the domestic electric circuit? I think you remember. Yeah, there are different circuit breakers we use in the circuit, and these protective measures are already given by these circuit breakers. What are the circuit breakers? Do you remember? Let us see what you remember. Yeah. So, when it comes to these protective measures, they are done by two components in the domestic circuit. Residual current circuit breaker. Can you remember the picture? Yeah, you see a residual current circuit breaker now on the screen. This is also done by fuses or MCBs. You see one MCB on the screen now. Yeah. So, in this way, when it comes to this protection, it is done by two things mainly. One is the residual current circuit breaker, or we call it RCCB. The other one is MCBs or fuses. First, let us see the protection given by residual current circuit breaker, or RCCB, or what we call it in normal conversation. We call it the trip switch. I think I do not have to really tell you, because you really know the type of protection that it gives us. Okay, but still we will see. Yeah, protection given by the residual current circuit breaker. You know, this is an automatic switch. When there is a problem in the circuit, it automatically trips off the circuit. So, what are the instances where this automatically trips off? I think you are familiar with the instances where it happens, okay, but let us see. Yeah, it automatically disconnects the supply when a person gets an electric shock. So, there can be instances when we are using electrical appliances, the live wire of the appliance comes in contact with the metal part, and if you are going to use it, and we may get an electric shock. In an instance like that, the trip switch or the residual current circuit breaker will trip off the circuit. What is the other instance? When there is a leakage from an appliance, yeah, that can also cause a big damage. In an instance like that also, the residual current circuit breaker trips off the circuit. There is another instance, let us see what it is. Automatically disconnect the circuit when a current of 30 ampere flows due to a short circuit. There can be instances where a current more than 30 ampere can flow through a circuit. So, if a current like that enters the circuit, it can damage the circuit. So, residual current circuit breaker can trip off the circuit. Okay. So, here we identified the protection given by the residual current circuit breaker or the trip switch. Yeah. So, what is the other device now we are going to talk about? Yeah, that is the MCB, or in the old circuit it is fuses. Okay, let us see the type of protection that MCBs give us. Yeah, protection given by MCBs. It automatically disconnects the circuit when a higher current flows through it. Now, there is a maximum current that it is intended to allow. If it is more than that, it will automatically disconnect the supply. This prevents damage caused to wires and appliances. Yeah, so, in this way MCBs also give us protection when using electricity in our houses. Yes. So, then this is the protection given by the circuit breakers. We have nothing much to do. Now let us say that when wiring is done, we install these devices in the circuit breaker, and then they will do the needful when there is a problem. But what do you think? Is this enough? I mean, can we be like happy, okay, now we have installed circuit breakers and now they will work, can we be happy? No, still there are things that we have to do. What are the things we have to do? I think you are pretty much aware of these things. There are certain things that we have to do. Okay. So, now we are going to learn about, and we are going to talk about different things that we have to do when using electricity at home. You know, electricity is really useful to us. Now, most of the things that we do nowadays will be really impossible without using electricity. Just think of a moment, especially nowadays, without electricity. Would you be able to watch this program? Will I be able to do this program? No, we would not be able to do any of this. And basically, the type of life that we have would be really boring without electricity. So, in this way electricity is really useful to us, but if we misuse it, yeah, it can even kill us. Fraction of a second is enough to do this. Then there are certain things that we have to do when using electricity, and there are certain things that we should not do when using electricity. So, now we are going to talk about them. So, we are going to talk about things that we should do when using electricity, and also there are things that we should not do using electricity. Okay. So, first let us see the things that we should do when using electricity. What we should do? Wear rubber slippers or stand on a rubber carpet when ironing clothes using an electric iron. I think you must be already doing this. Have you ever ironed clothes using an electric iron? I think you have done. Okay, have you ever done this? Have you ever thought about it? Yeah, I think your parents also advise you to do this, because when we are in bare feet, we make a circuit with the ground. If you are wearing slippers, so then we are not making a continuous circuit for the current flow with the ground. That is why we need to wear rubber slippers when using an electric iron, or we had to stand on a rubber carpet. Use a mat in front of a refrigerator. You know, refrigerator has a metallic part. There can be instances where the live wire comes loose and touches the metal part. We never know. So, in an instance like that, if we go and touch the fridge and we get an electric shock. To avoid this type of things, we better use a mat in front of a refrigerator. So, if you do not have one, please do it at the end of the lesson. Okay. Unplug the appliances from the sockets when not in use. Now, just go around the house, not really now, at least after the lesson you can do this. There must be many appliances still plugged in, but not in use. So, this is something which happens because of our carelessness. So, then we should really make sure when we do not use an appliance, it stays unplugged. We have to unplug it from the socket. Unplug radios, TVs if it is lightning. This is a very basic thing that we all are aware, but still there are instances where people do this. Yeah, and then after something happen, they start worrying about it and they start talking about it, then no point, right. So, before these things happen, we can do this. This is like, this sounds simple, but it can save our lives. Disconnect the supply using the overload circuit breaker in case of fire. Yeah. So, in case of fire, we need to disconnect the supply from the overload circuit breaker. You know, there is a lever in it. You can lower the lever and disconnect the supply. Call an electrician for all maintenance and installation work. Yeah, again, if we are electrician, if you are an electrician yourself, you can do it. Otherwise, we need to always get this maintenance and installation work done by an electrician. Press the test button of the RCCB once in a few days. You know, RCCB, or the residual current circuit breaker, or we call that the trip switch, it comes with a test button. I think you all have seen that. Where do you get the test button? It is above the trip switch, and you need to press that and see whether the RCCB trips off. If the RCCB does not trip off, it means it is out of order. So, we need to definitely replace it. Okay. So, there we talk about things that we should do to protect from electrical hazards. Due to some problems, yeah, some hazards can happen, then we should know the things that we should do to protect from them. Now, we are going to talk about the things that we should not do to protect from this type of electrical hazards. Yeah, just think of things that you should not do before I show you them on the screen. Can you kind of think of different things that you can do, that you should not do when using electricity? Okay, let us see whether these are the things that you thought. Use appliances when body is wet. Why is this? Body is wet means we have water. You know, water conducts electricity. So, we can easily get an electric shock. Turn off appliances with wet hands. Again, wet mean water. So, if you are going to turn on or turn off appliances using wet hands, then there is a possibility that we get an electric shock. So, we should not do this. Turn on appliances during a power failure. Yeah. So, if there is a power failure, sometimes we get sudden power failures, sometimes in advance they inform about us about the power failures, then we need to make sure that we keep all appliances turned off and unplugged. That is really important. Okay. So, now there we talk about what we call protective measures taken by the different circuit breakers in the domestic circuit, and also different things that we should do and that we should not do when using electricity in our houses. Okay. Now, we go to the next one, how to reset RCCB and NCB once disconnected. Yeah, so we simply do this. Most of the time what we do is, we just go and lift that lever up. Is that what we are supposed to do? Is that what we should do? I think you might remember I showed you this in the previous lesson also. Now, in an instance like this, what is the first thing that we should do? Can you remember? Just try to remember. Sometimes you must have practiced this also. First thing that we have to do is, we go to the isolator and turn that off. How do you do that? That is a simple thing. You lower the lever. Then you come to RCCB and lift the lever up. Then only you have to turn on the isolator. That is how you turn on MCB or RCCB in instances where they have got disconnected. Okay. Let us see them on the screen also. Switch off the isolator. You know how to do it. You lower the lever. Lift lever of the RCCB or MCB up. Switch on the isolator. Now, think that even after doing this, if you notice that still if the circuit does not work, then what do you have to do? Yeah. So, then you have to call an electrician. As I told you earlier, if you are an electrician yourself, you can do it, no problem, but otherwise you have to call an electrician and get this done. Call an electrician if the circuit gets disconnected. Yeah. So, we have now talked about different protective measures done by or given by the circuit breakers and that we have to do. I am going to give you a better idea now. I thought of including these pictures and giving you a better idea. We are talking about some other measures, sometimes must be the same thing, but I wanted to show you this in a picture also, so that you remember it, because you know picture is like thousands words. So, we can get a better idea from a picture always. That is why I thought of including these pictures. Okay, now, when the picture appears, you just think of the thing that we should do or things that we should not do. First we talk about do's and then we talk about don'ts. So, I have given them as simply as like do's and don'ts. There are things that we should do and there are things that we should not do. Let us see the things that we should do. Seal all unused electrical outlets. Before repairing any electrical appliance, remember to unplug it. We need to make sure that the appliance is unplugged and then we do the repair. Throw away or repair electrical items that have damaged codes. So, there are instances where we do this mistake. We kind of prepare this with pieces of polythene and shopping bags and things like that, and we repair, and we should not do this type of things. Plug in only one high watt appliance at a time to avoid overloading it. Nowadays, of course, multiplugs are banned, you can't use multiplugs, but still there are instances where we are using multiplugs, because we connect many devices at one socket. We should not do it. Then all these devices draw current from the supply, then it can heat up the things and even can cause fire. That is why we should not do this mistake. Plug in only one high watt appliance at a time to avoid overloading it. Keep that in your mind. Yeah, what do you see in the picture now? Pull on the plug to unplug the device. because there are instances where we pull the cable to unplug. So, instead what we have to do is we have to pull on the plug to unplug the device. That is the correct way to do it. Switch off or unplug before changing the bulb. Now, there are instances where we have to change bulbs, but make sure that we keep the device unplugged and turn off and do the needful. Get the right power bars. When connecting this type of devices, you have to take the right power bars, because you know there are appliances coming with a metallic cover. You know how to connect them to the supply. What do you use? A 3-pin plug or a 2-pin plug? 3-pin plug. Why? It has an earth pin, so it is connected to the earth wire. In instances where the metallic part of the appliance becomes live, current will be sent to the ground through the earth wire. And if the appliance has a plastic cover, then 2-pin plug would do. That is what it says, get the right power bars. Let us go to the next one. Still we are learning how to prevent from electrical hazards. We learn the things that we should do to prevent from this type of electrical hazards. Already you know there are things that we should not do. Let us see what they are. What do you see in the picture? Yeah, I am going to show you what is in the picture, but before that, can you guess what it is? This is something that you should not do. Use a damage extension code. You can see that is a damage extension code. You should not use that type of codes when you connect a device to the supply. Let us see the next one. What do you see now? Can you guess what it is? Have you ever done this? Sometimes. Let us see. Dislodge stuck toes before unplugging. Especially this type of things can happen in the morning, because we are so busy. We have like busy mornings most of the time. So, then we might do something like this. But now I think hereafter, if you are going to do something like this might come to your mind, and I am pretty sure you won't do it. Yeah, what is that? This is something related to what we discussed earlier also. Can you remember earlier we learned that when we want to unplug a device, how to do it? Yeah, we pull on the plug, not on the cord. So, when we want to unplug a device, you pull on the plug, not on the cord. That is what you see on the picture now. Pull the cable to unplug an electrical device. We should not do it. What do you see now? Yeah, so you know what it is. Use electrical devices if you are wet or the humidity level is high. Humidity level, moisture content is high in places like bathrooms, then we should not use electrical devices like hair dryer. Now, if you do not have much hair, then not to worry about it. Yeah. So, this is something related to what we learned earlier also. You know what this one is. Change the light bulb before unplugging the lamp. Yeah, we should not change the light bulb before unplugging the lamp. We have to turn it off and unplug, and then only we have to change the light bulb. So, what do you see in the picture now? You can see this person is going to fill the iron with water. Again, if you are filling the iron with water, you need to unplug and then only you have to do it. Fill the iron with water before unplugging the iron. So, you should not do it. Yes. So, we have now talked about protective measures given by circuit breakers, RCCB and MCBs, or residual current circuit breaker and miniature circuit breakers. And then we learn different things that we should do and different things that we should not do when using electricity in our houses to protect from these electrical hazards. So, now we have finished the first part of today's lesson. Now, we come to the second part. As I told you, in today's lesson we are going to learn how to calculate the electricity consumption. You know, this is done by the electric meter, but meanwhile we also should know how to calculate electricity consumption. And have you noticed that this is measured in kilowatt hours? Sometimes on electric meters you see kilowatt hour meter. Yeah, so we are using our consumption in kilowatt hours. 1 kilowatt hour is considered as 1 unit. Let us solve some problems related to electricity consumption. Okay. So, I told you that 1 kilowatt hour is considered as 1 unit. What is this 1 kilowatt hour? Now, suppose you are using an electrical appliance of 1 kilowatt for 1 hour. If you are using an electrical appliance of 1 kilowatt for 1 hour, so then you have used 1 kilowatt hour. It means you have used 1 unit of electricity. Now, let us see how to calculate this. You can see that on the screen. Number of kilowatt hours used is equal to wattage. You divide it by 1000. Normally, this power is marked in watts on the appliances. So, you need to make sure you convert that into kilowatts. You all know how to convert watts into kilowatts. You divide by 1000, and then what do you have to do? We multiply that by time, but time should be taken in hours. Yeah. So, number of hours. First you take the power in kilowatts. If it is given in watts, you convert that into kilowatts divided by 1000, and then you multiply by the number of hours. Then we can get the electricity consumption of the particular appliance. Okay. So, now we know the formula. Now, we are going to do a calculation. There is a question on the screen. Read the question and then see whether you can do the calculation. Yeah, this is a question. A bulb has a power of 100 watts. It is kept on for 6 hours a day. Part A is find its daily electricity consumption, and in part B you are asked to find its monthly electricity consumption. I think you all can do this. See whether you can do this. Let us go to the next one and see. Yeah, we are going to calculate the electricity consumption of the bulb. You know how to do it now. You need to get the power, but in kilowatts, and time in hours. First we write the data given as usual. In the previous lessons also I have told you, whenever you are going to solve a problem, first you write the data given. So, here we have written the data given, wattage 100 watts and time 6 hours. Now, we are writing the formula. Number of kilowatt hours used is equal to wattage divided by 1000 into number of hours. Now, we know the wattage, which is 100 watts. We divide by 1000 and multiply that by time, which is 6 hours. As you divide 100 by 1000, you get 0.1 into 6 gives us 0.6 kilowatt hours. 0.6 kilowatt hours mean 0.6 units. That is the daily consumption. So, now we have got the answer for part A of our question. Now, in the part B, you are asked to find the monthly consumption. You know how to do it, it's a simple thing. This is the daily consumption. If you want to find the monthly consumption, you multiply by 30, because normally we take a number of days for a month as 30 days. Yeah, so the monthly consumption will be 0.6 into 30, which gives us 18 kilowatt hours. So, now the consumption is 18 units. Yeah. So, now what do you see on the screen? Yes, I can. What you can? I know you can do many things, but I mean related to this unit. I think you all have seen they have given you things called learning outcomes, because when designing these lessons, they always expect you to know things and do things and develop some attitudes. So, these are the learning outcomes. When making questions in the examination department considers these learning outcomes, and they make questions to evaluate the particular learning outcome. Sometimes they might give you a question based on your knowledge, based on your application ability, based on your comprehension, analysis, synthesis, like that. There are different things that they evaluate through examination questions. Then to do really well in your exam, you need to always make sure that you have achieved the particular learning outcomes at the end of a lesson. Yeah. So, now I am going to show you the particular learning outcomes that we expect from you by teaching this lesson, and when the particular learning outcome appears on the screen, question yourself, can I do this? Can I do the calculation? Can I name the particular appliances? Do I remember the order? I mean, this type of question should come to your mind, and you need to question about yourself, whether you are okay with it, whether you can do it, whether you can apply it, whether you can name it, whether you can write it, whether you can calculate it. So, you need to do this. Okay. Let us see what we expect from you at the end of this unit 10. Let us see. Explain energy dissipation and power of an electrical appliance. Electrical appliances or electrical devices, they are the ones which convert electrical energy to a useful form of energy. Now, I think when you are given an appliance, you can write the energy transformation that they do. For an example, think of the television that you are watching at now. What the type of transformation that it does? For example, it converts electrical energy into what? Light energy and sound energy. Yeah. So, then you need to explain the energy dissipation done by electrical appliances and the power of electrical appliances. This is normally marked on electrical appliances. So, then looking at the power, we can decide the amount of electrical energy that is uses in a second. Then if we know the amount of electrical energy that it uses in a second, we can find the amount of electrical energy that it uses in 1 minute or 1 hour or in any given time period. The second learning outcome. So, you need to take it in this way now. I can solve simple numerical problems involving energy and power. I think now the formula should come to your mind. We got 3 formulae. Can you remember? What are the 3 formulae we got? We got P equals V I for power. In this P equals V I, P is for power and V is for voltage and I is for current. So, if we multiply voltage by the current, we can get the power of the appliance. So, simply we can get the power of an appliance as a product of voltage and current. And energy, can you remember the energy? Yeah, energy equals power into time. So, we got one formula, E equals P T, and we modified this formula because we know P equals V I. So, we replace P in E equals P T with V I, and we got another formula, E equals V I T. So, now you have 2 formulae to calculate the power electrical energy of an appliance. One is E equals P T, the other one is E equals V I T. Compare power rating and energy consumption of various electrical appliances. Yeah, the power of an appliance means the amount of electrical energy that the appliance uses in 1 second. So, then now think that you have an appliance which is 60 watt, another appliance which is 100 watts. Now, you can compare, because the 60 watt appliance uses 60 joules of electrical energy in 1 second, 100 watt appliance uses 100 joules of electrical energy in 1 second. So, you can nicely compare now when you know the power of the appliances. Compare various electrical appliances in terms of efficient use of energy. You know, nowadays there are energy efficient electrical appliances to save energy. This is something that we need to do, because there is a bigger demand for energy and most of the energy resources are limited, and most of the energy resources that we use nowadays are non-renewable. Then whenever we use electricity, we have to think of saving electricity. For that, we need to use energy efficient electrical appliances. We use energy efficient bulbs like LED bulbs, and we are using LED televisions, and there are several devices that we use. That is the next learning outcome. Describe ways of increasing energy efficiency. There are several things that we can do to increase the energy efficiency of devices. As I told you earlier, using LEDs and using LED televisions and that sort of things we can do. Yeah, what is the next learning outcome? Name components of house wiring circuit. Yeah, you should be able to do this in order. You should know the order in which different accessories are connected to the domestic electric circuit. Let us see whether you remember. You know, our houses are connected to the national grid using what? Supply cable. Using a supply cable, we can connect our houses to the national grid. Then the live wire of the supply cable is sent through another circuit breaker. What do you call that circuit breaker? You call it overload circuit breaker. Supply cable has two wires, live and neutral. I think you all know how to recognize them now. How do you recognize them? From the color of their insulation. Live wire comes with a red or a brown insulation, and neutral wire comes with a blue or black insulation. So, in that way we can easily recognize them. Live wire of the supply cable is first sent through the overload circuit breaker to give some protection, you know the type of protection that it gives, and from there it goes to what? Electric meter, which measures the consumption. From the electric meter it goes to isolator. From the isolator it goes to what? Residual current circuit breaker or trip switch or RCCB. From there it goes to the distribution box. So, you should be able to name these devices or these accessories in order. Let us take them again. You get the supply cable, and then you get the overload circuit breaker, and then you get the electric meter, isolator, and RCCB or residual current circuit breaker, and then distribution box. From the distribution box, this divides to two types of circuits, lamp circuit and socket circuit. Yeah. What is the next one? Explain the connection of a house wiring circuit using a diagram. Yeah. Now, you all know the order in which these accessories are connected. Now, you should be able to do this using a diagram also. That is the other expected learning outcome. Let us go to the next learning outcome. Explain the safety precautions in using the house wiring circuit. Today we talk about them. We talk about the protection done by different circuit breakers like RCCB and MCB. Meanwhile, we talk about things that we should do and things that we should not do to protect from electrical hazards. Yeah, what is the next one? Use kilowatt hour as a unit of electrical energy consumption. You know, when it comes to electricity consumption, we take kilowatt hour to measure the consumption. 1 kilowatt hour is considered as 1 unit. That is the other learning outcome. This is what we are going to do. I am going to show you some questions on the screen, and when the question appears on the screen, you think of the answer, and then I will show you the answers. Then you can mark your answers, and at the end you can see how many answers you have got correct. Okay, shall we start? First one, fill in the blanks. You get this type of questions in your structured essay part. As we already know, we use mains current in our houses. Mains current is an blank current. You need to think what type of current it is. We get it from the blank with a voltage of. Can you figure out the answers? Okay, let's check. Main current is an alternating current. We call it an AC. You know, this current is produced by dynamos in power stations. They produce an AC. We get it from where? We get it from the national grid. You know, there is a network of wires which carries electricity around the country. We call that the national grid, with a voltage of 230 volts. Go to the next one. Its frequency is blank. We get electricity to our houses through the blank fixed by the electricity board. Supply cable has blank wires in it. They are blank and blank wires. Shall we check the answers? I think time is enough for you. Its frequency is 50 hertz. We get electricity to our houses through the supply cable fixed by the electricity board or electricity company in some areas. Supply cable has 2 wires in it. They are live and neutral wires. Okay. We can go to the next question now. Live wire has a blank or blank insulation. You need to think of the color of the insulation. Neutral wire has, again you need to think of the color of insulation of the neutral wire. A circuit breaker is connected to the blank wire of the service cable. We call it. Shall we check the answers? Live wire has a red or brown insulation. Neutral wire has a blue or black insulation. Circuit breaker is connected to the live wire of the supply cable. Circuit breakers are connected to the live wire. We call it overload circuit breaker. Let us go to the next question. A service cable is then connected to different accessories in the following order. You need to take them in order now. You know the order in which these different accessories are connected to the circuit after the service cable. Electric meter. From the electric meter it goes to what? Isolator. From the isolator it goes to residual current circuit breaker or RCCB, and then it goes to distribution box. Hope you have got correct answers. Let us go to the next one. Now I have another question for you. In the first one we fill the blanks. I think you must have enjoyed it. Now let us go to the next one. Say whether it is the live or neutral or the earth wire which, you can see the questions on the board, has a red covering, goes alternately plus and minus, has a blue covering, forms part of the circuit but is at 0 voltage, has a yellow and green insulation and is a safety wire. So, out of live, neutral, earth, you need to select the wire matching each of these descriptions. First one has a red covering, you know, is the live wire, goes alternately plus and minus, again the live wire, has a blue covering. What's the wire? That's the neutral wire. Forms part of the circuit but is at 0 voltage, neutral wire, has a yellow and green insulation, earth wire, safety wire. out of these 3 wires was the safety wire? The earth wire. Yeah. Let us go to the next one now. Now, that is the different type of question now. MCQs. You know, you get 40 MCQs in your examination paper. So, you should know how to attend to this type of questions. That is why I thought of including some MCQs also. Let us see. Yeah, underline the correct or most appropriate choice. The amount of energy used by an electrical appliance in a unit time is called. This is a simple question. So, this type of questions are like knowledge based questions. Directly they ask from your syllabus or from your text. If you remember, you can attend to this type of questions. So, the 4 choices are work, power, voltage and resistance. Which one you selected as the correct choice? See whether this is the one you selected. Power. You know, energy used per unit time is called power. Let us go to the second MCQ. It was marked on a television as 60 watt. Was the current flowing through the television when it is connected to a 240 volt supply? Yeah. So, now a formula should come to your mind. What is the formula which comes to your mind? You know the power of the appliance, you know the voltage, and you are asked to find the current. The formula which connects power, voltage and current should come to your mind. What is the formula? P equals VI. Use the formula and see whether you can get the answer and check whether this is the answer. Yeah, 0.25 amperes. Now, I am going to show you how we get that answer. Yeah. So, as usual, we write the quantities given. We know the power of the appliance, which is 60 watt. We know the voltage, which is 240 volts, and we are asked to find the current. What is the formula connecting these 3 quantities? P equals VI. We write the formula and we substitute. Yeah. So, as you substitute, you get 60 equals 240 volts into I. So, now we can find I dividing both sides by 240. So, then I equals 60 divided by 240. As you simplify, you get 1 over 4. You can keep this as a decimal number, 0.25 amperes. Do not forget the unit. We find the current. So, the final answer should come in amperes. Let us go to the next question. Read the question. That is the first thing that you should do. Carefully you need to read the question. An immersion heater is connected to a 240 volt supply. A current of 5 amperes flows through it. Find the power of the heater. Yeah, you know the formula now. Again, P equals VI. So, as you substitute the values, what the answer you get? See whether this is the answer. 1200 watts. Yeah. So, here I have shown you how to get the answer. We write the quantities given. V equals 240 volts, which is the voltage, and I equals 5 amperes, which is the current, and we are asked to find power, which is P in the formula. P equals VI. We substitute the values. Now, voltage is 240 volt, current is 5 amperes. So, as we multiply, we get 1200 watts. Again, think of the unit of the answer. Power should be in watts. Go to the next question now. An electric iron has a power of 750 watts. It is used for 2 minutes to iron clothes. Find the amount of electrical energy that it has used. Yeah, you have to do some more work here. I think formula might come to your mind now, that is energy equals power into time. We know the power, which is 750, but time is given in minutes. you need to convert that into seconds. You know how to do that? You multiply 2 by 60, then you get 750 into 120. What's the answer you get? 90,000 joules, because you asked to find energy. Let us see how to do this also in the next slide. Yeah, I have given the same question here. We mark the data given, we know the power and we know the time. Time is 2 into 60, so it comes in seconds. We asked to find energy, so E. Formula is E equals PT. Let us substitute the values. P is 750 and T is 120. As we multiply, we get 90,000 joules. Let us go to the fifth question now. Which of the following actions does not help to save electricity? This is like an application type of question. You need to apply what you have learned. Yeah, we have talked about different actions that we can take at home to save electricity. You can see some of them. You need to select the one which does not help save electricity. Using table fans in place of ceiling fans. Think whether it helps or it does not. Selecting low power bulbs producing the same amount of light as filament bulbs. Third one, using high power cheaper bulbs. And the fourth one, selecting bulbs having less heat loss. So, what do you think? Which of these actions does not help save us electricity? See whether this is your answer. Yeah, using high power cheaper bulbs. Just because they are cheaper, we can't go for it if their power is really high. Now, you know, if you get filament bulbs and LEDs have a low power than filament bulbs, but still they produce the same amount of light. Then we need to go for LEDs. Let us go to the next one. Yeah, 2 bulbs of 230 volt 60 watt and 230 volts 100 watt are connected to a main supply. Ideas of 3 students regarding the current flowing through them are given below. Let us see their ideas. The same current flows through each bulb, that is the idea of one student. A higher current flows through the 60 watt bulb. A higher current flows through the 100 watt bulbs. So, you need to select the correct statements out of A, B and C. What do you think the correct statement is or correct statements are? Yeah, let us see how to decide the answer for this question. Yeah, so we need to take 60 watt bulb and 100 watt bulbs. Using our formula, we can calculate the current going through them. We mark the power, we know the power, and we have the formula here, P equals VI. Now, we know P and we know V. So, using the data given, we can find I in both instances. So, I equals P over V. Let us substitute the values. For 60 watt bulbs, it comes as 60 over 230. For 100 watt bulbs, it comes as 100 over 230. As we divide, for 60 watt bulbs, we get the current as 0.26 amperes, and for 100 watt bulb, we get it as 0.43 amperes. Now, very obvious, answer is really obvious. You can see that higher current flows through the 100 watt bulbs. Yeah, so then this is what you need to do. If you are given a question like this, you need to have a proper approach to the question, and then you can compare the answers. Yeah, now we can select the correct choice. You know, the first statement is wrong. While reading the question, you can do this. Second statement is also wrong. Third one is the correct choice. So, the answer is then C only. I mean, I really wanted to show this as an example, because you get this type of questions also in the exam. They give you like several sentences and several statements, and you ask to find the correct one out of them. So, when you attend to this type of question, have a proper approach, and then while reading the question, you can mark whether the given sentence is correct or wrong, and accordingly you can come to the final answer. Yeah. So, now there we have done few questions which would come in your part 1 and structured. Now, there is another question here that also comes in part 2. Yeah, especially a structured essay type question. Let us see what the question is. The chart shows in order the different accessories connected to a domestic electric circuit. You can see the order given: supply cable, it connects to a device called A, and then from that it goes to electric meter, isolator, then to another device called B, and distribution box. As now you are pretty much aware of the order in which these accessories are connected, now I think you can easily get the answer for A and B. Let us see whether you have got the correct answers. A should be what? Overload circuit breaker. In the old circuits, this was the service fuse. B is the residual current circuit breaker. Let us go to the next question. Which out of A and B disconnects only the live wire? You know, there are dual pole switches. They disconnect both live and neutral wires, but out of these things given, there is one circuit breaker which disconnects only the live wire. You need to select what it is. Which of these accessories disconnect the supply during an electric shock? Yeah, now let us see the answers. You know, A disconnects only the live wire. A shows the overload circuit breaker, and during electric shock, which one disconnects the supply? B, or residual current circuit breaker. Now, we have the next question. Name the wires in the supply cable. Already you know the wires, there are 2 wires. Part 5, which of these accessories act as dual pole switches? It means the one which disconnect live and neutral wires. Check whether these are your answers. Name the wires in the supply cable: live wire and the neutral wire. For part 5 now, which of these accessories act as dual pole switches? Let us check the answers for part 5 now. Which of these accessories act as dual pole switches? They are the circuit breakers which disconnect both live and neutral wires. Isolator does that, so is a dual pole switch, and residual current circuit breaker given as B in the chart does it. So, that is also a dual pole switch. Okay children, we have finished our unit 10 and we did that in 3 parts, 3 lessons, and we did a revision also. That was just an example for you. So, you can do the same now. You can take some more questions, you can select some more questions from past papers and you can answer them. Hope you have understood the lesson, and what you learnt in this lesson you can even apply to your life situations. Do it and then you can make your life also better. Hope to see you in another lesson on Guru Gedara. Have a nice day.